let's talk about climate change. If you brought it up.
I brought up temperatures and record droughts.
A lot of this is total bullshit. They're all wrong on it. The science doesn't support it. And I'm going to give you one piece of evidence that people don't want to look at. Real science evidence.
Yeah.
I did it on my YouTube channel yesterday because I was talking about the Pope and his health.
Yeah.
And the Pope is a radical leftist politically, by the way.
St. Francis of San Francisco.
And I wish him
our patron
speedy recovery. But he was a radical, leftist guy, and he was wrong about environmental things. Because I know who wrote his encyclical on this, and the guy is a classic Marxist. So one piece of evidence, which they'll cut right out of this tape.
Yeah.
They're called the Vostok ice core samples. No one heard of them. Okay. So Russia and France, you got left and right.
Yeah.
Scientists from both countries drill into the Antarctic shelf.
Right.
They drill down 10,000 feet, 2 miles. They pull up a core from the Antarctic. And why are you looking at the core of the Antarctic? Because you can see climatic changes in the core, as you understand. And guess what? There were carbon dioxide increases millennia ago, but they always followed temperature increases. They didn't cause the temperature increases. People don't understand that we had a period of great flora enveloping the Earth, which produced a great deal of carbon dioxide. So now don't get me wrong though. I'm not arguing for pollution.
No,
I'm a guy who bicycle every day. I like
a Berkeley graduate that bicycles every day and writes books about nutrition.
Right, believe me, I hate pollution.
Is the original, the guy who's inspired so much of what Trump is advancing.
Well,
today.
let's talk about that if you want. Let's talk about Trump and Trumpism.
But don't you? And before that, no, because to be fair on the climate issue, but you'll acknowledge, seriously, just. You've got your Northern California guy, you go up to Lake Tahoe, just the snow levels. There's some trend lines here that are understandable headlines.
But climate's been changing for millennia.
Okay.
And
you'll acknowledge it's changing.
Well, wait a minute, but it's not changing in the direction you think it is.
Okay.
We're actually entering a little ice period. People don't study history long and geological history.
Right.
We're actually entering a cold phase, not a hot phase. So climate, remember in the Middle Ages, the 1500s, it was very cold in Europe, or read about that? You weren't around.
Yeah, I wasn't,
But it was frozen. England was, for all of the Dickens novels set in the snowy London, because a cold wave came through England. It was a little ice age it was called.
Yeah.
We're entering a small little ice period on the Earth, not the opposite. So there's a lot more to the science. If you could let me sit down and I'll show you data, and your scientists, they're not going to want to hear it because people don't want to look at science. They only want their doxies supported by the science they approve of.
Yeah, no, look, you don't have to believe in science, but I joked about believing your own eyes. Places, lifestyles, traditions, communities being wiped off the map. We had a 3-year historic drought, the most significant drought, California's history drought since statehood, and it ended in 3 weeks with the wettest 3 weeks since statehood.
Correct. The wettest.
Extreme.
Because nature always corrects
The
itself.
most extreme weather.
Come on. Nature corrects itself. Oh, wait, I'll tell you something.
She does bat last, bats 1,000. Chemistry, biology, physics. That's all Mother Nature is. I'll agree with you on that.
But Gavin, listen. In 1872, it was so hot in the state of California before there was the first internal combustion engine. 1872.
Yeah.
The cornfields exploded in the Sacramento Valley from a heat wave.
Right.
No cars, no real factories yet, because the climate was changing because it always changes. Now, having said that, I'm not arguing for pollution.
No.
It's
a form of theft in my mind.
You know why I moved from New York? Pollution. I left New York in the 60s to get away from I would be dead if I had stayed.
By the way, in 1967, Ronald Reagan, then governor, agreed with you. He created the California Air Resources Board because of the smog in LA.
Good for him.
He wanted to clean the air, Clean Air Act, 1970.
Did he do it?
And our waiver was cut off. That's what Trump's attacking right now. There's that beautiful picture of Reagan in the Oval looking down at President Trump as he vandalizes Reagan and Nixon's
I'm not going to
leadership
join you in
on
attacking
clean air.
Trump on this podcast, even though you would like me to. But speaking,
No, we're getting along, Trump. And
You
I.
and Trump. Well, here's a question.
We spent an hour out, but
How can you ask him for $300 billion to rebuild California and spend
39.
50 million attacking him? How's
We
that
didn't
possible?
spend 50 million attack. We hope we don't use a penny of it. We were involved in 122 lawsuits in the last Trump administration. I was only involved in 2 years of that. Governor Brown, who you know well, had on your show and over the years, was
I think I
involved
did years ago.
years ago. Yeah, and I say that only to make the point that you're always someone that reaches out, and I've always appreciated that. So
I had
we're
Nancy Pelosi on my radio show.
proving the point.
Nobody would know it.
I know.
I had Charles Schumer on my radio show years ago.
See?
No one knows that.
See?
You know why?
Why?
Politics makes strange bedfellows.
That's why we're here.
I
And we're
know.
having a civil conversation. So we didn't put that money up to go after proactively Trump. We're doing to protect Ronald Reagan's leadership at the California Resource Board.
You
If
can
he
make that
attacks
point if you want. Now look, on the environment, I can guarantee you that on the environment, Trump and I don't get along.